Hello, everyone, and welcome back to session 2 of our game Trophy Gold. This is a version of the Pathfinder module, the Chasm of Screams, that I have converted into Trophy. So this is a lot of my hack, but we'll see how it goes. So we can go around in a circle, introduce yourselves, and then introduce your characters. Give pronouns, give any social media links that you want to highlight or projects you're working on, whatever you want to do. And then for your characters, just give your name, your drive, and then a couple of highlights about your characters if you want to. So I'll go first. My name is Sam Zimmerman. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me online with the @Typhos Games tag. That's TYPHOS. You can find me there on Twitter. You can also find me at typhosgames.com. And I am the GM for this session, so I do not have a character to introduce to you. I will be everyone else. So let's go Josh, and then John, and then Kyle.
Yeah, so I am playing Osto, who is a sorcerer, like a local hedge maze, I guess, more so. Very much in the vein of like a layabout philosopher. He uses he, him pronouns. Ultimately, he wishes to rebuild Hisham's fountain. That is his, overarching goal in life. And he is a cured beast bitten. So he has a affliction which transforms him into a like animalistic creature. But it has been stopped. The disease that he has been stopped. And he now has control over it largely. But it is suspected by medical science that, one day the disease has only been slowed, and so one day he will be lost, and he will have to, be killed or chased out of town or something, I suppose. So that is Osto.
And your name and your pronouns.
Yes, and my name is Josh, and I also use he and pronouns. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, I'm John. Am I unmuted? Yes. Okay. I'm John. He, him. You can find me on Twitter, John Grimm, if you want to hear me occasionally yell about code things or game things. I'm playing Kel, who's also a he, him. Kel, we have learned, is a defrocked priest turned back alley doctor who makes his living treating people who can't afford more reputable doctors, and as well doing a bit of foraging and selling herbs, including to our local sorcerer Osto. His drive is to one day attend Countess Shima's Forbidden Festival.
Okay, it's catching up with that mute button. Yes. So I'm playing Thad, Emboldened Rat Catcher, who's still very much a rat catcher, but sadly in the last session lost one of his 3 rats to some snakes. Poor little guy. I too would like to attend Countess Shima's glorious festival. That is the dream that I've had for at least a week. And yeah, that's pronouns for my character, he, him. My pronouns as a player are also he, him. I don't have any, I don't really have any gaming Twitters or anything like that. If you want to see my photography, you can find it at kylewiss.thelightswinning. on Instagram. Yeah, that's what I'm doing when I'm not playing games.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So, as a recap of last session, we all started out in the city of Kalor's Gap, where everyone kind of introduced themselves, got some light role play in trying to figure out relationships between each other and who knew who in the city. And then we headed out towards the Chasm of Screams, which is this barely explored cavern that everybody in town just assumed was basically a fissure in the rock with no real prominence, except that a few days ago, an old man showed up in town and claimed that he had found some a large cache of silver deep inside the chasm. And so now everybody is scrambling, trying to be the first ones to get there so they can claim the treasure as their own. And so the group is racing against the clock and all the other adventurers who are out to get this silver on their way up the mountain. And so the first stop on the way up was the group was planning on spending the night at Aya's farm. Aya was a farmer who lived just at the base of the mountain. When the party arrived, turns out that Aya's farm was ransacked and basically destroyed, and they found Aya hung by the neck in the out in her field with the note "Ungrateful host" pinned to her chest. And so we resume just after the set and starting to make your way up the mountain proper. It is still dark out. It is still night. And we have a little bit of housekeeping to take care of, because at the end of last session, you, Osto, captured a creature and then stashed it away in Aya's farmhouse. And we have not named this creature, so we don't know what to refer to it by. Have you thought of anything? Or if anybody else has any ideas, you're more than welcome to chime in.
I put the temporary name of Nar in there because I think we found it like chewing on like her leg or something.
Yeah,
Isn't
it ripped her leg off and was eating it.
Yeah. I think I like Nar. I think it's a good, does what it says on the tin.
So it's because the first time you said it, I definitely thought it was spelled N-A-R. And so that's a whole lot more letters to do Gnawer. So I guess that works. I like it. So we are going to start out in a new set. And for a little bit of recap, when you guys enter a new set, I will tell you what the goals of the set are. At any point, when you get 3 hunt tokens, you can spend those 3 hunt tokens and achieve the goal of the set. You can also achieve the goal of the set through narrative means. And so you don't have to accomplish the goal just by spending tokens. You can accomplish it normally and spend those tokens on gold instead. So that is entirely up to you and how we make it through the set. So this set is called the Cavern Mouth, and the goal of this set is to get past the cavern's guardians. And so the first thing that you guys are going to encounter on your way up this mountain is an endless or seemingly endless set of stairs that start very shallow, basically just trunks of trees that have been laid out and starting to make this kind of shallow gradient up the mountain a little bit easier to climb. But eventually it becomes physically chiseled into the stone of the mountain, and then fairly quickly turns to ice and snow, packed snow that have been trampled and broken on their way up the mountain, and it becomes almost a sheer cliff that you guys are making your way up, just barely hanging onto these handholds and thin steps. How are you guys making this easier for yourselves? Because this is a tough climb, especially in the dark.
So one of the items Kel has with him, because he heard there might be some prospecting, so he brought a pickaxe. So I think he's using it almost as an ice axe, an ice pick now, which, you know, it's not made for, but it helps. Just jabbing it into the side, gripping onto it, but the wood handle gets a little slick, but he doubles up and pulls again.
I like it. Osto, do you have any ideas?
I don't think I have any irrelevant items, but I think Osto is, you know, following behind, like scrawled, you know, not scrawled, hunched over the steps, with his staff as like a walking stick, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe because it sounds like it's not a sheer vertical climb. Maybe the pickaxe is being more used for clearing out the handholds and the footholds, clearing the fresh snow, making sure that there's enough to purchase on there that you can get a foot in. You can, you know, kind of make your way up. So I imagine Kel's actually probably in the lead then, in using that pickaxe to kind of like clear out the path a little bit for everyone behind.
I like that. Yeah, so why doesn't Kel give us a hunt roll to kind of get this economy started? So do you need a refresher on how that works?
Do we have a roll for party group set up?
It's the same one as last time. It's in the
same one.
It's in the character sheet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we put the link here. Excellent. I think I do need a refresher because I don't totally, my mind has gone blank.
Let's clear everything out of the room. So a hunt roll. Hunt roll. When you press ever deeper in pursuit of your goal, say how you are exploring and then gather some dice. You take 1 dice just for exploring, and you take a second dice if you have a skill or piece of equipment that is making your life easier. And so you've already said that you have this pickaxe, and so that makes sense. So you take 2 dice.
Okay. 2d6. So we got a 4 and a 2.
A 2 and a 4. So on a 4, you take 1 token, but you encounter something terrible. So you're clearing away these steps and scratching out the steps, and I think at some point you're about halfway up this big kind of sheet of ice that you've been traversing up, and you swing the pickaxe in to try and notch out this next step, and you hear a crack as you stick it in, and the step that you're standing on starts to slide a little bit. What do you do? I think the rest of you can also see this chunk of the ice that is starting to fall out of the cliff.
And it's the ice that I'm standing on. It's
Yeah,
not...
you're standing on it. The rest of you are a little bit back, so you're not in the direct path. But you are in a position where you could do something to help.
I'm thinking, assuming the piece of ice that's now sliding is not, so big that it's out of reach, but Kel takes the pickaxe and like makes an extra hard swing into ice a little bit further ahead, kind of to get purchase into it and just hold on as the ice beneath him slides away.
Okay. So that sounds like a risk roll, unless somebody else wants to jump in and help out in any way.
You might be on your own for now.
All right. So when you attempt something risky, say what you hope will happen and ask the GM and other players what could possibly go wrong. So what do you hope is going to happen by doing this?
I hope to embed the pickaxe strongly enough that I can hold on to it while the ice and snow beneath me slides away and just sort of weather this event.
Okay. What could go wrong? I mean, the obvious one is that you don't get a purchase and then you're sliding down the mountain. Kyle and Josh, you guys can both offer things that could go wrong.
He could slam his pick into the side of the ice and accidentally start a minor avalanche or something.
More chunks of ice start falling off and the whole thing comes crashing down.
Like a big shelf of snow just collapses down.
That's fun. Kyle.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think of like a good, yeah. I mean, there could be. Oh man. Yeah, you might. I either don't have one or you're gonna have to come back to me.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but I'm finding that I'm actually really bad at it. But I love the mechanic.
So you take one light colored dice if you are skilled at something, or you're taking advantage of a piece of equipment, or you're taking advantage of the environment. So you have your pickaxe that you're taking advantage of again, which is turning out to be really handy right now.
Yeah.
You get a second light dice if you accept a devil's bargain. The devil's bargain that I'm going to offer right away is no matter what you do, there is no path anymore for your compatriots. And so even if you succeed at this, Osto and Thad are going to have to figure out a way to get up. Osto and Thad, you can offer another devil's bargain to not be trapped.
Yeah, I think that my devil's bargain is that there could be something that lives in the ice, like that there might be something inside the ice, like a monster or a creature that makes its home inside the ice that we might be risk awakening.
Okay.
And I will propose that the pickaxe does not... That when he tries to use the pickaxe for leverage, it doesn't penetrate the ice and it bounces, back off of the ice wall, and he drops it down the side of this cliff, losing his item.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I like that. So he would still make it. He would still make it off of the sliding ice, but he's going to lose the pickaxe essentially.
Yes, that is.
I think the I think the idea of like this path basically washing out and the ice and everything falling away and there just isn't a path anymore. I think that's too good. I got to go with that one.
Okay.
I'm just really interested to see like what happens after that. So I'm gonna take yours, Sam.
Okay. And then you can roll the 2, and then at any point you can, if you don't like the result, you can add a dark dice if you're risking your mind or body in order to succeed. And then you can.
So, okay, that's a 1 and 2. So I will risk my body, I think.
Fair enough.
Let's do this one as a purple one for the dark die.
Okay.
And that's a 5.
So when you do that, you re-roll all of them.
Oh, you roll all of them. Okay.
Yeah. So you can re-roll the 2 green ones as well.
They're 2 points.
So you get a 5, which is a success, but there's a complication. Because the dark dice is the highest one, you can't keep going. What is your current ruin?
It is 4.
So if you included a dark die and it rolled equal to or higher than the highest light dice, and it is higher than your current ruin, add 1 to your ruin, and you can't keep adding dice.
All right, I'm up to 5 ruin then.
So you work with the GM to describe how the world is warping your mind and body. So how do you? So you succeed here, but there is a complication and you take damage, essentially.
And ruin doesn't have to be like physical damage, right? It could be more just emotional or mental or something, right?
It can be mental damage, yeah. That is entirely up to you.
So my thought was, at least for the ruin, that the scene unfolds of there's like the shaking that begins to happen with the ice. Kel looks back and sees the 2, recognizes the situation that's occurring and like has to make a snap decision of, am I going back for them? Do I stay with them and be on the what feels like the losing side of the path? Or do I go ahead? And so he chooses to go ahead, like jumping forward, slamming the ice pick into the higher ice. The path falls away, and so it's just like dealing with that emotional weight of, I basically just left them behind, maybe to die. Who knows?
Okay. I like that. You could take the condition guilty.
Yeah, I think if it's a situation where there's not something for us where I can like help them get across right now, and it's going to end up being us splitting apart, then I absolutely will. Mm-hmm. I think I want to wait, if it's okay. With you, like what they do, like if they have to turn back and go off some other way, and I have to leave them, separately, then yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so in that case, I think the complication then is going to be that yes, this big chunk of the mountain has washed out, and you look inside, and there are when you're looking at the edge of where you swung your pickaxe at, there are very clear like drill marks, like someone weakened this section of the ice on purpose.
Yeah.
So I think that is the complication. Kel and Osta, what are you guys going to do?
How far are we from where like Kel has gotten to, where there is, stable ground?
I think this section is only maybe like 5-6 feet wide.
Nice.
So it's maybe like a 5 to 6 foot wide, basically crack in the ice, and he's 2 to 3 feet up from where you guys are.
Okay.
Okay, I have an idea. So I have an idea that could get at least one of us up here. To where Kel is. So I have my repel spell, right? So I could take a running jump, maybe cast, because it only works on creatures and people. But maybe I cast, Osto stays where he is. I run and jump, but then I cast repel on Osto, which propels me further than I would normally go. Because I don't think I can make a 6 foot jump without any assistance, but that might be a way to get that extra oomph that I need. But then I don't know how we'd get Osto to us from there. Even if that worked, which sounds crazy.
It does sound pretty crazy. Osto has a staff, right? He has like a quarter staff as his item.
Yeah.
Which would probably be about 6 feet, 7 feet long. You know, would it be possible for him to sort of try and jam it in the crack in the ice as a, and then use it as like a makeshift bridge?
Heck yes. That's great. Both of those sound fantastic and incredibly dangerous. And I love it. So,
maybe the staff idea, because that's going to get us both across.
yeah, if each of you walk across the staff. Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
Maybe I'll let him try the staff first.
So I think if you both wanna do that, then I can just do it with one risk roll from Osto.
Okay, I'm okay with that. You okay with that, Osto?
Yeah. I think that is so there's this, chasm, there's this crack in the ice between them, and I think Osto has this staff which is, a little bit taller than him.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of, like a curtain rod, he, slides it in and sort of pushes it down until it doesn't go down anymore. And then he's going to take his tentative steps and hope he doesn't tumble into the abyss.
So what do you hope to achieve?
We hope to get to the other side.
Okay. Creating this bridge to get to the other side, yeah. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, you both tumble down to your deaths.
Yeah.
Is a thing. The other, it could also be that you fall and you're like hanging from the icy ledge, trying to hold on. John or Kyle, do you guys have things that could go wrong?
Yeah, I think you lose your staff in the process. Like you maybe you make it across, but that last step comes off as the staff dislodges and just tumbles away down the mountain.
That could be a good devil's bargain.
That could be,
well.
yeah. Actually, that's what I just thought. Yeah.
Kyle, you have any? Or just move on? You're muted.
Yep. Get on the unmute button. All right. Yeah, I think that is those are the obvious things that could happen for sure. I think his approach is that rather than trying to tightrope it across, I think he's gonna actually like monkey bar across it. He feels more comfortable monkey barring it across with his hands, like, and then get into the gap at the other side, then hoping that he doesn't lose his balance trying to tightrope across it. It seems safer to me.
Okay. So you get 1 light dice for using a piece of equipment. You can take another light dice for accepting a devil's bargain. We already had one that I do like. You lose your staff. It could either be like you've jammed it in so hard that it gets stuck and won't come out when you try and pull it, or it tumbles down the mountain. Other devil's bargains. I don't really have another good one. I do like there is another devil's bargain that only one of you can make it across, but that kind of delays us further.
Yeah.
You also don't have to take it.
Yes.
The thing.
I will take the devil's bargain. And I will pray.
Okay.
That is 2 light dice.
Yep.
Okay. That is a 3.
I think it did the thing where it didn't re-roll properly. So if you just clear those and roll 2 new dice. Because it says the last roll you did only totaled 3. So
Odd. Okay. So I will just throw in 2 new dice. And that is a 2 and a 5.
that's a 5. So you succeed. Do you want to throw in a dark dice and try for the 6?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. So you add a dice of a different color, and then you get to re-roll all 3 of them. Oof. But the dark dice is not the highest one, so you can do it again.
Yep.
That is a 1, a 2, and a 2.
A 2 and a 6.
Okay, it's a 2, 2, 6, and you do get to add another dark dice.
I do get to add another dark die. I will toss in another dark die and hope it isn't also a 6.
Okay. That's fine. So
yep.
you got your 6. You succeed. Describe what this looks like.
Yeah. So Osto wedges his staff into the ice, and he, takes he puts his foot out for a step, and he puts some weight on it, and it sinks a little bit further into the crack. And he, puts a little bit more weight on it, and it stops, and it seems pretty firmly jammed in there. And he walks across it when you are walking across a balance beam, and you start to fall at the end. And he grabs onto the other edge where Kel is, and Kel probably helps him up. And then Thad makes it across somehow. I'll leave that to you if you want to describe it. Yeah. So the two of them make it to the other side. But I think that the staff is wedged too far down to retrieve, and stuck too much into the ice to actually lean over into the chasm and try and pull it out.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. So you guys make it past that and slowly start to make your way further and further up this field of ice. It's Kel still in the lead? Even if we had this mishap?
I don't know. Y'all tell me, because I think like when you initially start this your own trip across, I'm like yelling at you like y'all are crazy. You're mad. This is never gonna work. And then I'm scrambling to get you, but I'm like, yeah, sort of guilty about what happened earlier, and just like I didn't know what to do. I just had to jump.
Well, it's okay because, you know, even if we get separated, we'll just meet up at the festival.
Always the optimist you are, Thad. I wish I could have that same optimism. So I think Kel's a little shaken by the whole thing, and this night has just been getting worse and worse. And so I think you're starting to see Kel like be distracted. He doesn't seem like he's totally focused on things, and the physical wear and tear of it all as well is showing on him. You can see it on his face and in his movements. So I don't know. Do y'all let that person lead you still?
I think Osto probably starts out first. A little bit less burdened by his equipment. And I think Osto goes, follow me, all right? I have made it this far, and I do not plan to die in the ice.
Well, I don't plan to die in the ice either.
Awesome. So, Osto, you start to kind of push your way up these steps that get steeper and steeper to the point where there's only one step left before the top of this ridge. And you pull yourself up and get this beautiful view of a valley on the other side of this kind of icy, snowy ridge. And the top of this ridge has been packed down by feet that are pushing farther up the side of the mountain. And you can see just at the top, not only can you see the entrance to the cave, you can hear the entrance to the cave, and it is howling with wind. In front of that entrance is a campfire that is lit. And you guys make your way up and can see silhouetted by the campfire 3 figures who are 2 of whom are sitting, just kind of, it looks like they're eating something, and the third is standing, leaning against the side of the cave. And as you approach, the one who is standing and apparently keeping watch draws a bow, and the other 2 stand up to face you.
Oh, I can't imagine these might be the guys that sabotaged the path.
So the campfire is abandoned as far as we can tell. It is just lit still.
Yeah, no, it's a lit campfire. It's going. There's these 3 people who are all kind of around the campfire. Yeah. So it's it seems to be an active site.
Okay. Yeah, I think Osto sort of looks at them, and he looks at the Kel and Thad, and he goes, yeah, if they are the people who sabotaged it, then they probably will not be happy to see us on the top of the ridge.
Are you guys going in swords drawn? What's the...
I would like to cast a ritual, I think, So I have the circle ritual, which says anyone within a small ring of salt is unable to inflict or suffer violence. So I think seeing this person that has readied his bow to fire it at us. My original idea was I was going to cast a circle around them, and then I realized I have to get salt around them. That probably is hard to do. I think I'll put the circle around us as a form of protection.
Okay. So I don't necessarily know that this even requires a risk roll, because one of the two figures who is sitting is walking towards you with her hands up.
I think Osto yells, stay there, stay there. You can talk to us from where you are.
All right. No need to be casting any magics over here. We're just guarding the entrance. I assume you're making your way down to the chasm. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You'll have a pass.
Wait, a pass to the chasm? What?
Yeah,
I didn't think this was like a theme park.
Mayor's issuing passes because of all the hype. So we're up here to enforce his rules and make sure that everybody plays fair.
You have any identification? I'd like to see your badge number.
Can I get closer, please?
Yeah, we're in the circle. You can get a little bit closer.
Okay. So I want each of you to go around and tell me one reason why you know that these three people are complete bullshit.
I see that as she gets closer and she steps closer, I see a bit of blood on her shoe. Is it human blood? Probably.
Okay.
I think that there is a uniform worn by like the guardsmen and the hired officials, of the town, and I think that this is the same, what she and the others are wearing is like they're wearing like a navy blue t-shirt instead of like a cop uniform,
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, I think that Kel, just wanting to be sure that his claim would be absolutely validated, tried to go buy a pass. He wanted to make sure he was crossing his T's and dotting his I's. And the local magistrate just looked at him like, what are you talking about? I don't need a pass to go to the cave. Just go for it.
Oh, so you've known their ruse before it was even going to happen. Awesome. So this woman walks up to you with her hands up, and she reaches into a pocket and pulls out what looks to be some kind of shiny something. It's really hard to see in the darkness, but she tosses it over to you, and it is a badge. It's very possible she stole it from somebody, but it is a badge. She's well, look, if you don't have a pass, that's fine. We can take payment up here. It's a gold apiece to get into the cave.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Is your name Lorenzo Muckraker? Because this badge says Lorenzo Muckraker. Did your parents? That seems like an odd name for a lady.
She squints at you. Oh God! And she turns back to the man with the drawn bow. Lorenzo, did you switch our badges again, you moron? It's like he shrugs and grins at her. It's like, I'm sorry, my partner's an idiot.
Okay.
How about this as a proposition for payment? As you know, there's a small fortune, maybe a large fortune in there. You let us buy, we'll give you more than a gold's worth on the way out.
For all I know, you three are about to go kill yourselves down in that dungeon. So a little bit up front.
Well, what's it to you? If we kill ourselves, then it's no big deal. I don't see why the mayor should be upset about that. There's plenty more rat catchers back home.
Mayor still needs his taxes, his money. So
Osto,
I don't know if
Taxation is theft.
Osto, like hits Kel's arm, and he goes, you know, what's in that pouch you have? Haven't I seen you toying with coins? Because Kel has a bag of fool's gold with 6 pieces in it, which I just noticed.
You're more observant than I am. Yes, absolutely. I will pull out the fool's gold and be like, and I'll play it up as like, Osto, this is all we have left. This is it.
Well, if they won't let us in, then what do you want us to do? We don't have. We'll have more on the way out.
1 gold. We'll give you 1 gold, and as I said on the way out, some of our findings.
Now, Kel, your grandma gave you that money for your birthday. Is this sure? Are you sure this is how you want to spend it?
It's what she would have wanted. God rest her soul.
The woman sees you pull out this pack that definitely has more than 1 gold piece in it. She's like, 2, and we'll look the other way.
And then there's a lot of hemming and hawing.
And hawing.
And I finally pull out 2 and say, fine.
I still think I want a risk roll because you are trying to deceive them.
That's fair.
But I do think that you definitely get the dice from doing from the equipment. What could possibly go wrong here? What could possibly go wrong is that they find out, but you've created enough confusion for yourselves to kind of still have the upper hand. So I think your guys are in a good position, and I like this plan. But I think the thing that could go wrong here is that you guys are like halfway to the cave, and she says, "Hey," and then we start something. Mm-hmm. Thad or Osto, do you guys have something that could go wrong here?
She might get close enough to kick out some of the salt circle. And ruin our protection.
That's pretty good. So
I think okay, I got a good one. Maybe, um, maybe even as a devil's bargain. Maybe,
okay.
um, maybe they'll be fooled, but they'll tell the next band of adventurers that we have more gold. And my it's frozen, right? And
Oh,
so
I
then
like that.
the next people that come along might be hunting for us, thinking that we're rich.
That's a good devil's bargain. I like that. Either because they think you have a whole bag of gold, or because they know you tricked them and they are out for revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
think
I
either
like
way.
that as a devil's bargain. The devil's bargain that I'm going to offer is that you are bad at haggling and you end up having to go up to 3 and use up half of your coins, essentially.
I like the one Thad suggested of either they realize the ruse or they just mark us as potential, someone else. Hey, we saw some people with some more gold. So yeah, let's go with that.
Awesome. So that's 2 light dice.
All right. Okay, roll.
That is a 2 and a 5. So you succeed with a complication unless you want to risk your mind or body in order to succeed.
No.
Nope.
I think we'll stick with this.
Okay. So I think the complication is actually going to be that you guys are exhausted at this point. It is late. You guys just climbed a mountain in the dark, and it is probably close to midnight at this point. And they're offering that you guys are welcome to rest here and continue into the cave in the morning.
I don't trust these people. And I feel like we should not take them up on this offer.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on, I've got an idea. I think we should take them up on this offer, pretend to go to sleep, then try to see if there's anything that we can rob from their campsite.
Also a good plan.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm picturing that we don't. There's not like buddy. We're gonna sit side by side at the campfire. We probably kind of keep enough distance that we can see him at all times and such. But
I've got a flute. I might play my flute, and maybe they'll fall asleep to my flute playing, and then you guys will pretend to fall asleep. And
I think Cal really falls asleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that might be a good yeah.
Ooh, I like this plan that's coming up. So I love this plan, but we are going to engage said plan after the break because it is the top of the hour. So let's take a 5-minute break. Be back at 10 after, and we'll see you all then. Fine. So I love this sneaky plan of pretending to go to sleep and then waiting until morn, or waiting until everyone else has gone to sleep and then ransacking their campsite. So I honestly think this is a hunt roll because you are progressing further into the set by doing this. So Thad was the one who was going to like stay up and play this flute to try and kind of rock everyone else to sleep with its music. So I like that. If you want to lead a hunt roll to try and see how this goes. So you get, I think you're just at 2 dice because you are, you have 1 dice for just exploring and then a 2nd dice for your skills or equipment. And you said you're using your flute to try and do this. So why don't you roll us some dice?
Right, D6. Do this.
That is a 1 and a 4. So on a 4, you succeed. You get a hunt token, but you encounter something terrible.
Oh, I've got a good one.
And what do I want that to be?
Well, actually, I don't get a say, do I?
So why don't you first describe this scene of you guys sitting around the campfire and letting everything die down.
Okay. Yeah. So we're all sitting. How many of there's 3 of them, and right? There's 3 of them. Can you hear me? Should be. I'm unmuted on my end.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can also hear you.
Can you hear me, Sam?
I can't hear you at all.
Oh no.
Can someone else talk so I can make sure it's not my internet? Because it might be my internet.
Yeah, do you hear me, Sam? Do you hear me?
Yep, no, I can't hear anybody. So I am going to log out and then jump back in.
Quick, while he's gone. Big plans.
All right, so we throw them all off the cliff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I do have my repel spell. Wait till one of them goes to pee off the cliff and then just go poof. Yeah.
Can someone speak? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you, Sam.
Hello?
Everybody still sounds a little bit robotic, but it's not too bad.
We've been replaced.
I guess so. Thad, why don't you continue describing your scene? Sorry.
Okay, so there's a lady and two men, right?
There is a lady, a man, and what looks to be a some kind of humanoid bear looking thing. It has the head of, it has like this almost the head of a bear and the chest and body of a large man.
Okay. All right, sweet. Awesome. Nothing can possibly go wrong. So they're sitting around the campfire. I'm like, oh yeah, let me play this flute, like these songs that, my grandma, she gave me this really nice sweater and she taught me some of these songs too. And they're really great. And I start to play the flute, and the bear guy and the lady, they do start to look like they're dropping off to sleep. But the guy, he goes off outside the campsite. He excuses himself and he says that maybe he needs to go relieve himself.
Okay, so that's the point where you kind of poke everybody else awake. Like, hey.
Yeah, I think so. After they seem to be asleep, but we don't know where the other guy went.
All right. I like the other guy going off and not technically being asleep as the complication.
Yeah, and we're like, I don't know what to do without that, but.
So, all right. So what are you guys going to do? I will also point out that he was these people are really bad at lying. He was very clearly lying when he said he needed to go relieve himself. So he's off to do something and you don't know what it is.
Osto or Kel?
I
Do you
think
guys wanna take
I
the
think
lead?
Kel like wakes up, kind of sees what's going on, and just says, while rubbing his eyes, like, well, let's make quick work of it. Quick, see what they've got, and we'll get into the cave before they know any better. And I'll keep a lookout.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna duck into the guy's. There's the guy that went off, and so his like little tent TP thing is empty. So I'm gonna go in there and see if there's anything I can find, weapons or gold or anything.
He does not have a
useful.
tent. He has a sleeping bag.
Oh, he has.
They
a
all
sleeping bag.
just have sleeping bags that are out kind of in this
Oh, okay.
this thing. So yeah, you can poke
fun.
around in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna poke around in his sleeping bag. Yeah.
So why don't you give me another hunt roll to try and find some stuff while you're out here? Osto, are you also kind of hunting?
I think Osto is definitely ready to, sneak off into the cave. I don't think he is active right now.
Okay, so Thad is the only one who's actually actively looking around for stuff. So why don't you think
Clearly,
about
at least
yeah, so it's
more.
going to be another hunt roll. And why don't you think about what skill or equipment or environmental factor you're going to try and use to help you here. Osto, you're keeping a very close eye out, looking around, seeing what's going on. The path that this man took looks very well trod. Like the snow is packed down in this path. Like they've gone back and forth this way multiple times.
Do I see where it leads at all? Can I
It leads kind of around the side of the mountain and out of sight.
Okay.
So Thad, why don't you roll those dice?
I had rolled a 4 and a 5, but then I realized I'm not really using any equipment, so I should probably just roll 1d6, right?
So you can either
I can't think
use
of
a
any
skill or you can use a piece of equipment, either one.
Okay, give me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna use my speed skill. So to do it hastily, because I know I may not have enough time before he comes back. So I did roll a 4 and a 5, and I cleared the room.
Okay. So on a 4 and a 5, you succeed, but there's some kind of complication. So, or you succeed, but you encounter something terrible. So you take a token. You can spend that right now to find some gold, but I will tell you that there is not inherently gold in this, or the treasure in this sleeping bag. So
Okay, I think I'll just keep the token in that case.
you're going to keep the token then? Okay. So what I think the something terrible is, you see eyes in the darkness reflecting the camp light. There's one set and then another set and then a third set, and there's a low growl out of the darkness.
That's good. I have such a good idea. I'm ready for this.
What are you guys doing?
Real quick, I have a question. How many tokens are we at right now? I know I
You
got
guys
one at the
have
start.
3 tokens at this
Okay,
point.
that's what I thought. I want to make sure my count was accurate.
So I will say that at this point, you could just jump into the cave and achieve the goal of the set. The goal of the set was to get past these guys.
I mean, I am not averse to running, to like grabbing a torch out of the fire and running into the cave, leaving the creatures and, these
Yeah.
people who tried to rob us to their own devices.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with that plan. Better to live to fight another day.
Yeah, they can deal with the wolves stalking them.
All right, who's going first? Also, I will tell you that you have heard this growl before, and it is not wolves.
I've heard it before.
Oh no, they can deal with the gnars.
Yeah, if you remember, one of the things that you guys have is a pack of gnars who are all chasing you.
Well, hopefully they will not be able to differentiate between which group of 3 people.
Yeah, maybe they're hungry and we'll stop for a snack.
Man, I always loved the idea of like a 3-way chaos, though. That's true.
So do we have to roll, or do we just spend the tokens and escape?
So, what I'm saying is you can stand and fight, which is an option. That would probably be combat. You can jump into the hole and rush in, or you can take your time, and both of those kind of have their own risks associated with them.
I think that there's a time and a place for careful action, and I think that it is not now.
Awesome.
Yep, I'm on board with that.
So who's going in first? Who's leading the charge here?
Well, I think Thad was probably the most ready.
I think Thad was busy gathering stuff out of the sleeping bags.
I'm fast, but I'm not that fast.
Yeah. Well, actually, so Osto
Kel and Osto were the ones who were like keeping an eye out, watching for stuff. So one of you would probably be the ones to jump down the hole first.
Kel is definitely looking to Osto.
Yeah, I think Osto is going to grab like one of the burning logs, and he is going to hop down that chasm.
Okay. Yeah, so you turn and you run towards this chasm, and it very quickly turns slick and smooth and starts to slope downwards, and before you can even realize what's happening, you aren't running, you're sliding. And I would like you to give us a hunt roll.
All right. Am I using anything? Sorry, I'm just scrolling to the right page.
Okay.
I don't know if I am using a piece of equipment or a skill to help me. Not unless a vermin repellent keeps away gnars, as well as, mice.
Do you have something that would keep you safe or keep you stable as you're sliding down this incline?
Not really, no.
Not really.
And
All
don't
right,
forget-
roll. So you get
one. It's
you get 1 dice.
Okay.
I was going to say, remember that we also have the additional backpack slots.
You do have the additional backpack slots that you can reach into.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I'll try my luck.
It's a 4.
4.
And on a 4, you take a token, but encounter something terrible. So you get your token, and I think the something terrible is you are sliding down, and before your torchlight is flickering and glittering off of this kind of slick, icy surface. And then something that's not reflective comes up in front of you, and a huge rock is jutting out of the ice, and you only barely manage to like spin and avoid it. But now you're not only spinning, but you're sliding, but you're also spinning around. And more of these rocks start to kind of poke their way up and out of the stone. And I think that I think this is definitely going to take a risk roll to avoid getting seriously hurt from all of this.
Okay.
Kel and Thad, how are you guys getting down?
I think I think I am going to go into the backpack. And it says there's a grappling hook. Is that hook attached to rope, or do I also need rope?
I mean, you could use the grappling hook like an ice pick.
Yeah.
And just like use it to like slow your slide.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, you know what? I have the pickaxe. I think it serves the same purpose still. So, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm using the pickaxe and like using it like a break behind me as I just kind of Kel gets down. Like I think he runs in, slips, falls to his butt, and then just like kind of has the pickaxe now like dragging the ground behind him as he's like inching down the slope. Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
Well, I think. Okay.
I like that plan. Sorry, Thad, you were going to say something?
Oh, no, I just want to make sure I'm waiting my turn.
So who do we I think Osto is probably in the most danger right now. So why don't you give us a risk roll? So what do you hope to accomplish?
I hope to make it to the bottom safely.
Does safely mean unhurt or in one piece?
Let's say in one piece.
Okay. What could possibly go wrong? You do not make it to the bottom in one piece. You make it to the bottom in multiple pieces is a simple what could go wrong. I think also it could be like the contents of your pack go spilling everywhere at the bottom or something like that, and you lose your kind of anything that you found so far. So you lose the treasure that you found so far. Does somebody else have one?
This could be a what goes wrong or a devil's bargain, but I think Osto could end up tumbling into some sort of side passage or diverted fork, and he gets deposited in a different chamber than where Kel and Thad end up.
That's good. I like that. Thad, do you have anything?
No.
Nope. Okay.
This time.
Do you have a skill or do you have a piece of equipment that you want to use to help you in this situation?
I think that as I am like falling, as I'm sliding down this slope, I think that Osto starts to transform into his beast-bitten form, wherein he has, claws and such to grip on to the, to the rock face with, and to try and slow his descent, maybe get a little bit better night vision or something.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Okay. And going off of that, I'm going to offer the devil's bargain that no matter what, as a beast bitten, you're going to go crazy for a little bit and run off. And so you're going to come to in a little while and not really know where you are.
I'll take it.
Does somebody else want to offer something?
If no one else has.
No, I think that's great.
All right. So you get 2 dice.
All right.
I would argue that you are definitely risking your mind or body in this situation. So you would probably automatically get that third dark dice.
I think that is probably quite accurate. That is 1 dark die and 2 light dice.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 6.
There's a 6. That's awesome. So you will get. So what does this look like? I will say you slide down the thing, and at the bottom of this slide is like a 10-foot drop into a pit that is full of bones, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah. So as Osto is sliding down this slope, he makes a very unpleasant noise, and then he starts making a bunch of very like inhuman noises, as he is like half. He has a lot of very like animalistic characteristics, but he's not, just like turned into an animal. He starts scrabbling at the wall that he's sliding down to like slow his descent, and then he reaches the bottom. He falls, he slides into the pit, and then he like scrabbles out of the pit much faster than I think the human Osto would really be able to like climb the pit wall. And he howls like a different howl than the gnawers were doing. His own like weird, not quite wolf howl. And then he runs off into the dark.
I love it. So Thad, how are you keeping the Gnars from chasing you into the cave? Because one is definitely trying to chase you into the cave. As you're running back, the other people in the camp are starting to wake up and realize, oh God, what's going on? And are getting kind of dropped on by these creatures. But one of them has run past and is now chasing you into the cave.
No problem. Here, I'm gonna like kind of warg into the Gnar with my possess ability. I'm just gonna possess the Gnar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he can come with me. We'll go together.
All right. I want to see where this ends up because okay. So this is definitely a risk roll. What do you hope to achieve?
Get to the bottom safely, but and I think the way that my possession works is that like when I possess something for a temporary period of time, my entire body will merge with whatever I'm possessing for a period of time. And then after that period of time is over, then I'll also merge out of it, and then I'll still have the warg to deal with. Like, right?
Okay. I like that.
I think that's how the possession works, is that you come together and then yeah. And I'm not even saying that there's even necessarily, this could be a complication. Is that maybe when I possess something, I don't have 100% control.
You guessed the devil's bargain I was going to give you.
I have to bargain. I have to sort of like bargain with the thing I'm possessing for control. Okay, maybe I should.
What?
I shouldn't get ahead of myself.
Yeah. What could go wrong? The ritual fails and you get attacked. And that would probably start combat if you can't get rid of this thing.
I think the other thing that I get to say something, right? That might go wrong.
The other two get to
the
say
other two.
something
Okay,
that might go wrong.
I shall be quiet.
John or Josh?
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe the other Gnars follow. If the Gnar, like, if the one Gnar is going to follow into the cave, the other Gnars will, their focus will turn to that instead of the campfire and the people there.
Oh, that's good.
This feels extreme, but I'll throw it out there. You possess this Gnar's body, but lose the form. The physical body you left behind is then left to the rest of the Gnars.
Oh, that's good. Like this isn't like true possession. You just swap bodies.
That or basically you're now in this Gnar because your human body is being eaten currently, and so you now exist as a Gnar.
That'd be rough. Awesome. So you have, do you have a skill or piece of equipment that you are using to help you in this?
It's just I just have the spell, right? I mean, just the spell that I have, which.
So the spell does not, the spell is fictional positioning. It does not grant you that first dice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me think here. I don't, probably not, honestly. Though I don't think that this is going to help me, but I like the idea that this Gnar, when I possess it, it's going to be wearing the knit sweater. So that's how you'll know.
That's adorable. So you don't get that dice. Devil's bargains. I think so. The devil's bargain that I was going to offer is you are fighting for control with this thing, and while you are wrestling for control, you don't really have any good ideas of where you're going, and you end up in a side passage.
I'll take that. I definitely want to take that one because I like the idea of having to like wrestle for control for as long as I'm in this thing. So yeah, I'll take that devil's bargain. I accept it. Anybody else have any others?
So you only get to pick one. So
Oh, okay. Well, are there anybody have any other ideas then to choose from? Otherwise, I'll take yours. All right.
nope. All right. So you get one light dice and one dark dice.
Over to the dice roller. And
So let me try something real quick.
1d6.
So what you can do is have one with pips and one with not pips.
You
And
just
have-
want to roll for me? That might be
Sure.
fast.
Let's clear that. And so
Dun,
one
dun,
with
master.
pips and one with no pips. The one with pips is the dark dice. So you got a 4 on the dark dice, which is a success with a complication. But the dark dice is the highest. What is your current ruin?
I don't recall taking any ruin, but let's give me a second. Check the character keeper. Oh yeah, but I start with some ruin. So Sorry, bookkeeping is always my weak point here. My ruin is 3.
Okay, so a 4 is higher than 3, so your ruin goes up by 1. And what does that look like in terms of how does your mind or body get damaged in this?
Yeah. I think that I'm going down the cliff, and I think I hit something at the bottom. I think I hit something that injures me in some way. You can decide what it is, like whether it be.
Okay, so I like this image that you so you took the devil's bargain that you got kind of diverted into a side passage. So what does the success look like? Describe the ritual.
Oh yeah, so the warg is like, or the Gnar, sorry, the Gnar is like running at me, and in my haste, I like cast my spell. It's like the secret magic unspeakable words, like it's all consonants, and so it sounds like it's just like, how did he even say that? There are no vowels. And then my body disappears and all my things disappear, but then the word gets zipped into, and as soon as the word gets zipped into, and then the sweater like hoofs around him, that startles it so much that the word just loses its footing and goes spinning down the shaft, like with his little feet just like skittering. and it goes down the shaft.
Yeah.
And maybe
So
it
you
gets-
go, you go spinning down. You fall into like a crevice and then go sliding down a second passageway. And then you both, like, I think at the end of this, there's another like steep cliff where you fall off this cliff and in midair separate from the Gnar. And so both of you land heavily in this room. It is a kind of a small chamber that is almost entirely made of ice, except that the floor is stone and there's a small campfire in the center that is out, and it is unlit. Seems like it was used recently, but not in the last like 12 to 16 hours. You land at the close side of the fire, and the war goes. Now you've got me saying it. The Gnasher goes tumbling over the top of it, slams into the other wall, tries to stand up, and the two of you are facing each other. And the Gnasher looks over and licks its lips, and you can see that there's another dead body that is lying off to the side peacefully, but with its throat slit.
God. So the Gnasher and the Gnar, that's the same thing?
Gnar is what we are actually calling it, and I'm having a very hard time remembering its name.
Oh, no, it's okay, yeah. So there's another dead body with its throat slit, but we're separated again.
Yep. And so Kel is the only one who seems to have managed to slide in a somewhat controlled manner down this cliff. But
this is probably the point that I should probably go. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I was just gonna narrate that Kel down to the bottom, and then we were gonna take a break. So.
Oh, good. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I can't stay the whole time tonight.
That's okay. We'll continue on, and then we'll merge you back in at some point when we get everybody back together.
Awesome.
So, Kel, you're sliding down this steep slope, kind of narrowly dodging all of these rocks, and you, as you're sliding down, you hear howling both from below you and above you, echoing down this tube of a chasm. What are you gonna do about that? How does Kel react to that?
I think I'm gonna try and take the pickaxe and like hook it around one of these rocks and just hang out for a bit and collect my bearings.
So you're gonna like slow yourself down to a stop and just kind of. I think you slow yourself down to a stop and you can see the pit of bones below, just like a couple feet ahead of you and below you. You can smell it too. It smells like rotting and musty. And the howling eventually echoes out to nothing, and it's entirely drowned out by the wind that is blowing through this chasm and up and out and howling. And I think that is where we're going to take our break, with Kel hanging off a cliff, Thad lost in an ice maze with a Gnar at his back, and Osto transformed into a beast bitten and run off who knows where. So let's take a bit longer of a break this time, if you guys don't mind. 10 minutes. We'll come back at like 5 after. Does that sound good to everybody? And this is when Kyle has to duck out. So we will see Kyle next week.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
And the rest of you, we will see you in about 12 minutes. So let's start with Kel, I think. So we are in a new set. You have made it past the entryway, and we are now into the third set of the incursion, which is the Bone Pit. And the goal of this set is to keep away from the wandering dead. And so you might find out what that means. You might not. Who knows? We'll see. So you are currently hanging by your pickaxe about 10 feet above the surface of this pit, which, do you have a torch out? That is a good question. You're the one with all the torches, so I would assume that you have a torch, but
I think at this point I don't. The two I've used, have long burnt out and been used up. We were sleeping for a while there, and then everything, was kind of in a fast flash. So I don't think I have a light source currently.
you do, because Osto had one and probably dropped it when he turned into a beast bitten.
Yeah.
So there is a faint light coming from the bottom of the pit where he dropped it. And so there's kind of a faint flickering light coming from the bottom of this pit, which you can barely see from where you are. But you can definitely smell the rot coming up from below. And so what would you like to do? You can try and make your way down there. You can try and avoid it. You can see that past it, there is a big kind of crack in the wall of the pit that is likely the best path forward to going deeper into the chasm.
Yeah, I think that's when the howling from below recedes and fades away, and everything's quiet. Then for a moment, Kel begins lowering himself down. Not totally certain how far down the ground is, but I feel like I can see that a little bit of that light, so I know like, okay, it's not that big of a drop. I should be okay, I think. And just gonna drop down.
Yeah, you drop the 10 feet or so, and you hear a crack. And you look down, and it's like, it's not my hands, it's not my bones. And you look down, and you definitely broke some bones during the fall. And there's a flickering kind of like stick log that is petering out in the center of this thing. You could probably go over and brighten it up if you wanted to, but you are currently standing on piles of bones. Mostly human, surprisingly, but there are animal bones scattered throughout. You can see what looks like a whole skeleton of a large deer that is poking out of the pile a little bit to your left.
Yeah, I'll go and pick up the burning stick, and raise it above my head, and then kind of shine it and try and find the corners of this cavern and look to make sure there's nothing lurking in a dark corner that might leap out and add me to that collection of bones.
Yeah, so this sounds like a hunt roll because you're looking for information. So, why don't you give me a hunt roll? So, in terms of dice, you get one for looking around. Do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that you want to use? I think the torch is just letting you do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you would get a second dice just from having the burning stick.
Right, that makes sense. Let's see. I can't come up with any good uses for any of these items. I think I'll just roll with what I've got.
I mean, you can look at your skills.
Yeah.
You are probably the one who would know the most about all of these bones lying around.
That's true. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'm using the forensics skill in looking to identify patterns of what's here.
I like that.
Does it seem like these were natural deaths? Were these bones left from attacks, or was it like maybe sort of carry on, corpses found elsewhere and then brought here? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. So why don't you roll 2 light dice?
All right, I'm gonna delete these. Let's do 2. All right.
There's a 6. Also, key point. Tokens carry over, so you still have the. I think you had 2 tokens.
I had 1.
You had 1 token.
Yeah.
Osto had 2, I think, and Thad had 2, if I remember correctly.
I think we were at 4, so I think it would make sense if I had 1, Osto had 2, and Thad had 1. But I'm not sure.
I think that's right. So,
so actually, in that case, can I spend a token and maybe find some treasure in this bone pit?
Yeah, you can do that. So, you're poking around, hunting through, like looking around across the surface of this pit, and you can see that the bone, most of the bones look broken or crushed. And from your skills, it's fairly reasonable to assume that the cause of death of most of these bones was just the impact of falling this far and just not surviving the fall. But the number of bones here is impressive. And the fact that none of them have meat or sinew is also a little bit disturbing. So that's what you get. And then you're going to immediately spend the token that you got. And you find what looks to be an adventurer. And you're kind of going across, and you see a glint out of the corner of your eye, and you turn, and there is an adventurer's skull, a human skull in the corner, and 5 of its teeth are gold. And so you're welcome to either take the skull or just pry the teeth out, but it is worth 1 gold.
Yeah, I like the idea of I'll just pick up the whole skull and stick that into my bag and say, yeah, that'll be good later.
Okay. One thing you do notice is that the adventurer had a pack, but nothing is left of the leather pack. All of the leather has been destroyed somehow. And all that's left are the twine ropes that held it all together and the metal buckles and braces.
Interesting. Okay.
And from the look of it, you could probably, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in here. So you could hang out here for a bit if you wanted to and keep looking around.
It's tempting, but there's bigger rewards to be found. And I think I don't know if we're gonna have to come back out this way or not. Yeah, I don't know. This pit's giving me the heebie-jeebies though. So I think I'll start making my way out.
All right, so you start kind of climbing your way up the side of the wall. And we are going to swap over to Osto, who has woken up. And you are at a crossroads, essentially. So you're kind of leaned up against the wall, panting. What is the aftermath of your transformation look like?
Osto is. I think that his robe is a little bit torn, and I think that he is very like haggard. His hair is down. It was like tied up before. That sort of thing.
Okay, so it's not like a Hulk situation where all your clothes are ripped and torn and.
No, I think he stayed roughly the same size.
Okay.
But he's definitely very like scuffed up. Like his clothing is very like scuffed.
Yeah, and messy and untidy and everything. Like your shirt is untucked and your bag is hanging off of one shoulder and you're just kind of leaned up against this wall, panting.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there listening to the howling of the wind as it goes through the cave, and it's undulating and sighing, and you can feel the breeze come across you every time it goes up. But then one time, there's no breeze, but there's still that same howl. What do you do? And you are currently sitting at a 4-way crossroad.
Okay.
You don't know where you came from. You don't know which way is farther in.
So, can I tell which direction the howl is coming from?
Sure. I think most of the howling has been coming down one of these hallways, and so it's fairly easy to tell which one.
Well, I'm going to head in the opposite direction.
Reasonable. So you make your way back along one of the passageways, kind of like dragging your hand along one side to keep track of where everything is, because it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
There's like these faint glimmers in the ice that you can still barely make out where you're going. Why don't you give me a hunt roll as you are making your way farther into the set?
Yeah, of course. I am.
So
I have probably cracked open another jar of glowworms to light, to cast some light.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, bye. So that is 2.
Mm-hmm. So you get 2 dice.
Snake eyes.
Oof. You lose all your tokens and encounter something terrible.
Ouch.
Yeah, the highest dice is a 1. You lose all your tokens. So that sucks. So I think what happens is you're going down this hallway, and again that howling starts from behind you. This time there's some wind with it, so you're not as concerned, but you're making your way down this thing, and the howling is definitely getting closer, and you don't understand why. And you start to run, you start to rush through this passageway, trying to get away from it, and it's just getting closer and closer behind you. And then suddenly you're on the edge of a great crack, a great crevice that runs through the side, through this ice, a fissure, if you will. you can see that the path that you are running down continues on the other side of the fissure, maybe 10 feet away. But the howling is coming from behind you.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
And let's swap to Kel. Kel, you pull yourself up across up into this thin passageway, and you start making your way down this hallway. And you're kind of poking around, looking through passages. Is there something that you're looking for, some direction that you're following, or are you just kind of wandering aimlessly through the chasm, trying to figure out where to go next?
So I didn't see Osto or Thad in that bone pit. So in my mind, they're ahead of me somewhere in here. So I'm looking to see if I can find any tracks. Maybe I can see what direction they went and I can catch up to them.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So this also sounds like a hunt roll. We're doing an awful lot of these, which is kind of the system. There's only 3 rolls. And so so you get 1 for exploring, and then do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that you think is helping you in this moment?
I think, did you say that, so like the area I've come into from the bone pit, like there's branches and there's paths and things?
Yeah, so it's this kind of labyrinth of icy tunnels.
Then
This is going to be a very weird pull. Have you seen the movie Ice Age?
Yeah.
So the part where they're like sliding through and they're constantly trying to grab each other and sliding through the ice tunnels, that's kind of what's going on.
Then I am what I'm doing to try and avoid myself getting lost in these tunnels is taking my pickaxe, and whenever I have to make a decision about which direction to go, I'm drawing a mark that shows the tunnel I exited.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, why don't you roll 2d6? I need to step away for 2 seconds. I will be right back.
2 5s.
Pair of 5s. All right. So you get a token, but you encounter something terrible. So I think what happens is you do manage to find some tracks, and really it's not as much tracks as it's like scratches in the ice from some pretty massive claws that are fairly regular down the hallway, as if something was like running on all 4s. And it's the best lead you have, but it's something. Did you know that Osto was a beast bitten? Or does Osto, did you tell Kel?
I think it is probably well known that he is, like, that he was a cured beast bitten in town. I think it's probably why he lives in a tent. You know, no one will rent him rooms.
That makes sense. So you do manage to find these tracks, and based on the howling and your knowledge, this might be Osto. Who knows? Or it might be Thad for whatever reason. But you're heading down this hallway, and you turn a corner, and then immediately duck back, because going down one of the side passageways, you see a blue light. It is this very kind of like a pale, bright blue light that is making its way down the hall. And you kind of peek your head around, and a figure is walking down the hallway. and it doesn't see you. But as the wind starts to pick up around you, you can see it like lean forward and suck air into its face. And this echoing, rattling howl runs through the cavern as it's basically drawing air into itself. And from where you're kind of hiding, you can see that it doesn't have a face. It just has a hole that it's pulling air into its face. So, what's the plan?
And so it is down the hallway that the tracks point towards, correct?
Yes. If you were to follow the tracks, you would get closer to this thing and probably draw its attention. You could try and find a way around, but that might just end with you getting lost.
Right. And you said it's a
like
figure,
a ghost.
as in like, oh, it's like a ghost.
It's like a ghost, but it's very clearly human shaped. Except that it has no face and is just a gaping hole.
Does it look like it has like a physical body?
No.
Okay. So then that plan won't work. Okay. I'm going to wait for it to get close to the juncture, to the turning point, and then the dragon's breath herb that I pulled from the garden, which we said could, like, when exposed to fire, produces smoke, sort of as a crude smoke bomb. I'm going to try and set that on fire with the. I'll just leave the stick and set the herb on it and let it start smoking and popping and such, and then I'm just going to try and like slip around it.
Okay, so you're trying to use this as like a distraction?
Distraction and a medium of cover.
Yeah, okay. So this sounds like a risk roll. So what do you hope to achieve?
I hope to run past this thing and not draw its attention.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And what could go wrong? I mean, what could go wrong is that it sees you, or it's unaffected by the smoke. Osto, do you have any ideas, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like the obvious one.
The other option is it works, but now you don't have a torch and you're stumbling through this maze in the dark.
Well, I think that's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, the devil's bargain.
So I think that's a decent devil's bargain. The other devil's bargain could be that you basically use up all of the herb, and so you don't get any gold from that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I like that.
Do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that you want to use? You said you're using the herb, so that's a piece of equipment.
Right.
So it's found equipment, but it's equipment. So you get one from that. You get one from taking the devil's bargain. Are you willing to risk your mind or body? I guess you can always add that in second.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the
You get 2 dice.
So yeah, so 1 light, 1 dark, right?
No, you just get 2 light dice. You only add dark dice if you
Oh, that's for the
want to keep going.
Right. Okay. All right. And on
Would you like to add a dark dice to try again?
And so, just trying to, if I add the dark, but then it's the highest, and it would have to be over I'm at a 5 on ruin, so it'd have to be a 6.
Mm-hmm. You have to roll exactly a 6.
Okay, let's risk it. So play those, and then we'll add 2 and 1. Okay.
1, a 1, and a 4.
Better.
So the 4 is the highest one. You succeed, but there's a complication. The GM describes the complication, and then you describe how you succeed. So the complication in this case is going to be that it's following you. You've managed to get around it, and so now you're ahead of it where you're going. But it is recognized that something went by it, and now it is following you. You can still add another dark dice to try and bump that up to a 6.
I think that's what I'm going to try and do. Let's give that a shot. So we're up to 2 dark dice. 2 and 2. Submit.
So that's a 5, which is still a complication.
Yep.
But it's not the dark dice is not the highest one.
You know what? Let's let it ride. I might end up regretting this. Dang it.
There's the black 6. So you succeed at what you're doing. How do you lose yourself to the incursion? So let me quickly read the section on death.
Yep.
When your ruin reaches 6, you lose yourself to the wilds that have been growing inside you. You choose whether you become a monstrosity in service of the forces of nature, or whether you simply die. This is an important moment. Everyone focuses on your last actions before you run screaming into the shadows, turn violently against your fellow treasure hunters, or take your final breath. You may now create a new treasure hunter who the GM will introduce into the game at an appropriate moment.
So Kel lights this herb and it begins to smoke. And he quickly tries to duck around this creature. But he can sense that it sensed him passing, and so it kind of turns. But he just bolts down this one hallway, turning blindly now, just running at a fast pace. And he slips on some ice and falls into or he slips on some ice, and the ground actually caves away underneath him as he falls down into a just icy crevasse, and he is stuck and just lies down at the bottom of this for hours yelling for help, but there's none coming. And eventually he freezes to death in this icy crevasse.
It's pretty bleak. And I love it. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for today, so that we have a little bit of time for debrief before our session finish, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
So thank you anybody who's watching this. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will sign off. Stop the recording here.